Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. Let's jump in the queue. It's always a bummer to see an empty ticket, right? It means you started a ticket but didn't get a win with it. Okay, base +9 against Wonderboat. I see a lot of green and blue. Looks like kind of a high econ thing with... Steelforge is good. A good way to get you up to like Omega eventually. Also Thermite. I don't know if you're going to be able to get a Asteri. Maybe you leave green completely alone? Doesn't seem like a hugely winning play as player 2, but actually... In the high econ line, you're floating 4 gold for quite a while, right? You could spend that on a Steelforge instead of on a Conduit. And then just like get... I don't know, like... Plasma Fire is good, Asteri is okay. This is sort of my decision turn, right? I can get triple drone and then next turn Blast Forge, turn after that Steel Forge. Along with, you know, an Infusion Grid or something. I don't mind having extra blue because of Thermite Core, I think. But I might actually want some other techs, like, I don't know. Being able to build an Asteri, even if that's all I get, is probably good. And it's not going to be all I get, right? I can build Urban Sentries or Plasma Fires or something. And eventually Force Fields, you know. I think green is fine. It's not so bad that I want to skip it to rush out a little extra blue. It's going to be awkward to spend the blue if I get the Steel Forge immediately. Yep, we're all getting grids. Good unit. 9 and 5 is 14, so I can't quite buy the Steel Forge this turn. That's probably alright. $60 seconds, alright. Interesting. We're not buying a grid. What are we getting instead? A splitter? I mean, that's interesting, I guess. That's probably right, since I plan to build a grid anyway. This way he gets one engineer kill. If he builds the splitter, then the grid, instead of the grid, then the splitter. But don't I punish that with an Urban Sentry? If he wants to kill my engineer, he has to either build a wall instead of a grid, or not click his splitter. Like... So this is sort of trading engineers in a way, which I think is fine with me. I could even not get a grid yet, start on the Thermite Core first, by building like a Gauss Cannon to go with my one attacker, and then the Thermite Core. I kind of like that. Okay, he wants to trade engineers. Fine. You know, I offered. I can't be too upset if he takes me up on it. I think we do want Omegas. I don't have a grid yet, though, right? Which I kind of do need, I think. He's not really going to be attacking. Maybe I shouldn't rush so much to get this Centurion on, or Omega Splitter online. I should pay some more attention to what I'm doing here. I'd like to be able to keep building attack with Thermite Cores. Maybe another Blast Forge is the way to do that, but I shouldn't do it just because I want Omegas eventually, I don't think. So if I build another Thermite Core next turn, and I build like 2 more attackers, what is that exactly? 2 more splitters seems okay. 2 urban sentries, maybe? Could be 2 Gauss cannons, and then I can, like, Thermite core plus grid. But only if I do this. And then it's Thermite core, grid. Oh no, well, Thermite core, grid, and 2 Gauss cannons. That fits, right? Maybe I should just build another engineer and keep droning? That seems a little greedy. I guess I'll get a Blast Forge. It lets me, like, build attackers with blue instead of with green, which is nice. And so it lets me save the green for, you know, one day a Plasma Fire. Or turn the green into gold by building a sentry instead of a splitter, which is, like, also better for other reasons, but... I like my Thermite advantage here, and I want to keep that, because he's going to have Absorb for quite a while. And if we can deny it, then I'll be happy. He's never gonna get one now that he's started on these Omegas, which means that... Okay, well, he's gonna try, I guess. There's nothing wrong with 4 blue in this set. I think it would be fine, but I don't know. Yeah. Grid's a relatively cheap way to spend your money. The problem is, like, he wants to get a Thermite core, but you can't do that while also, like, getting to the right amount of attack for Thermite cores. So I'm not sure what he should do here. Okay, so we said we wanted grid, Thermite core, splitter, Gauss cannon? Now, should this splitter be an urban sentry? I think the answer to that is probably no. Also, is he going to click his Omega? He might. Since I don't really want to attack, it might be worth it for him to just click it. So maybe I should build a replacement engineer here. But I don't want this to be... Where is it? I don't want this to be an urban sentry because saving up for Plasma Fire is going to be pretty cool, I think. Okay, he is clicking it all. Punishing my Thermite cores by not absorbing, you know, that's a thing, sure. Okay, so, but I don't super mind losing the urban sentry, I don't think. On the other hand, I also don't really know what an Omega is doing for me. I guess what it's doing is absorbing, right? Like, he actually can't deny me absorb like I can to him. So there's substantial value in that. I would be building it as a defender then, I guess. What if I built a polywall? Is that crazy? Seems bad. Like, just a wall would probably be better, honestly, to save my urban sentry. Yeah, maybe I should just continue on this path of making sure I have enough absorb. Or absorb denial, enough Thermite pixies to deny him absorb, and say, look, your Omegas aren't that great, buddy. I threatened to actually attack for all this, which means he can't really, like, build another Omega if he wants to be defending. Ooh, interesting. So against this Polywall, I think I just attack it and, like, don't use my Pixies or my Thermite cores. He's denying himself Absorb now, which I guess is fine since I was doing it anyway. Okay. But here, he's giving me fine value for my Thermite cores. What exactly am I doing to defend here? I could build a Polywall, right? The problem is he gets good value by holding an Omega back. Well, no, doesn't really help him though, right? Because I'm denying Absorb anyway. So I think this is a cool idea, right? I can go one more turn without actually attacking him. He'll hold back the Omega, but that doesn't help him. Well, it gives him defensive tempo, I guess. Right? It maybe means he can afford to build another Omega or something, but I don't think so. Yeah, that's something I should have considered, actually. Is that holding back the Omega does give him something. It gives him time. But he's not doing it, so fine. Really should though. There it is. Now he can maybe squeeze in another attacker. Force field, not hold drone, right? Well, no, since you figure I'm not really attacking, fine. Yeah, this Polywall, I don't know. Maybe trying to get the 4th Thermite core was too greedy. I always forget you have to click attackers first. So let's just, I can Polywall here if I want. But that lets him continue to hold attackers. Is that okay with me? I guess. Gosh, I would just love to be able to build one Plasma Fire, right? Do I need to do that? Is he really going to attack with everything? It protects the Urban Sentry in principle, of course, but in practice I don't know that it's necessary. Okay, so the real question is this Plasma Fire a pipe dream? Is this really going to happen? It's going to be hard for me to spend tech, isn't it? 12 plus, I guess, 2 walls? It's possible. Yeah, it could happen, I guess. I'll have the grid up. I like that idea. So I can build a couple NGs to defend, right? And still build Plasma Fire and 2 walls. Or Plasma Fire Polywall, I guess. Alright, I can't figure out whether I could do something better. I mean, clicking the Omega does kill my Urban Sentry, but I don't know. I'm not so sure I love my position here. He has more real attack, right? And he has better Absorb. what exactly am I winning on? I have a giant stack of pixies, basically, which is not nothing. But he's, you know, been building up defense to counteract that. I could also build, like, the Omega here, I guess. That seems kind of cool. I'm threatening 12 attack. He has 5, 7, 10, maybe 13. Actually, that's pretty decent. The Plasma Fire is a little bit more threatening, though. And it lets me keep the Urban Sentry alive as well. So what if I tried something like that? This threatens 4 attack. Well, I guess I can build a wall here to defend the sentry. Oh, I'm not sure. Let's build the splitter. This way this threatens more attack unless he actually kills the sentry, which is pretty hard for him to do, isn't it? Gonna need a lot of polywalls, I bet. Come on, can I get you to... Yeah, hold back that Omega. I knew it. I just had to play a game of chicken with him. Oh, boy. I'm glad I got to buy a Plasma Fire. Interesting. You gonna try offering the breach? Ah, this is a gambit, no? Okay, 2 polywalls, that's cool. And now it's not a gambit, right? If he holds back 2 drones to go with his 2 polywalls, although it should be polywall, wall, wall, right? That's better unless you're worried about wall supply, which I guess maybe should be, but I think it's a little early. Okay, a splitter. Very nice. So, first question. Can I do some silly nonsense with Thermite cores? I think the answer is yes, right? I don't want to let him absorb this 5, and I don't really want to click this to kill wall drone. So what if I just hold one of these bad boys back and click a bunch of Thermite cores? I can build polywall, force field, grid splitter, Engie? Hang on, I need to make sure that we're not actually losing either of these guys, and we're not. Okay. Well, I'm probably losing one of these 2, and I'll be happy to lose the splitter instead of the sentry, I guess. The splitter is worse at defending than a sentry because it can't defend and attack. But on this turn, attacking with it was useless. And so I'm actually would rather defend with it since on this turn they're equivalent. And in the future, a sentry will be better. So that's why I'm happy to defend with a splitter here. I wish I'd been able to get an Omega. Oh well. This seems like the kind of thing I might be able to exploit by clicking both polywalls and then still use a couple thermite cores, because it's so close to my maximum damage that even shaving off 4 I may be able to do productively. So first let's look at that. I can fire off a plasma fire to create 4 pixies. That's even better than doing 4 damage. I love it. So he has, what, 11 real damage? So a polywall is fine. He can't really exploit that the way I can exploit his stuff. Did he ever buy... He's bought no infusion grids all game? No, he got 1. Actually, 5 is a bit awkward for me. Maybe I should have force fielded something here. No, you're never gonna get a plasma fire. Don't kid around with me. That's just not gonna happen. It's too late. How's his polywall supply, by the way? Running kind of low, isn't it? Yeah. I'm kind of bummed about that. First, let's try this way. Oh god, that's so bad. Alright, you got me. I guess I'm losing a sentry. Wow, once again, I can click the plasma fire for 4 pixies. Cool. Well, that was a fun one. Look at that graph. Oh, I do love Thermite code games. Oh, what fun. Alright. So, what was the deal here? I think Thermite Core, since the buff, you know, a month or 2 ago, is like just really good, and you can't ignore it like he did. Rushing straight for Omegas is not very good when your opponent can just constantly deny you value. He reacted well, I think, by usually attacking with his Omegas. But eventually, the amount of pixies that you're able to build up by giving your opponent 0 absorb while I'm getting like 2 or 3 is like huge, right? I'm like, it's like I started with 2 or 3 extra Tarsiers in my pocket, like, and just carried that for 5 or 6 turns or something, right? That were like free. If you could start a game with 5 or 6 Tarsiers, like, sorry, 2 or 3 Tarsiers. Let's say not even start. Let's just say, you know, around turn 8 is when I'm generating pixies, and so he's getting no absorb, and like he's generating no pixies because I'm getting absorb. Like, let's say I get 3 Tarsiers starting on turn 8 every game. I think I could beat like almost any player in the world, right? Like I'm not the best player in the world, but if you gave me 2 free Tarsiers on turn 8, I'd be feeling pretty happy with almost any game. I guess I'd still lose occasionally, but like I would never be the underdog, I think. So now it's not fair to say really that like he was doing the same thing as me minus 2 Tarsiers, right? But that's an advantage that I got from using the Thermite cores that he didn't get. He was building more efficient attackers, right? You know, Omegas are efficient. He had a better absorber later on, in case that ever mattered, although it mostly didn't. And he had more economy, right? Yeah. I mean, having access to green was pretty great for me. I'm glad I was able to find a chance to build that plasma fire I always wanted. And I was able to buy grids while he was having to buy walls. That's more free health for me, right? Like, he bought... Let's look at the end of the game statistics, right? He bought 3 more walls than me and 3 fewer grids. So that's another, like, 3 damage that I got for free. Of course, it's not really for free because they're not prompt. You know, there's inflation to be considered. But I was in an okay position where I could, like, build grids somewhat comfortably. Maybe I should have been buying splitters and then on the next turn buy walls, but this felt okay. And his polywalls were just, like, brutally abused. by my Thermite cores, who timed out, like, actually just in time, right? I was able to actually still use them for a little while still doing actual damage to his polywalls. Okay, well, enough bragging about how we did. Let's try to find things we did wrong, right? It's fun to gloat, but not usually that productive. I think picking up the green was a big decision that I worked on for a while, right? Like, a moderate amount of time was spent here deciding what to do, apparently about 50 seconds. I think it was good. Like, Urban Sentry gave value right away. A Force Field or two helped, and the Plasma Fire helped seal the game. Without it, I might have had some trouble. But of course, if I didn't have the green, I would have had something else. So, I don't know. This was kind of a cool, like, I liked this little... It's not exactly a gambit by either one of us, but not in the Prismata sense. But in the more general sense, yeah, it's kind of a gambit. Like, he says, I'm going to build a splitter before my grid, and in response, I can't really build a grid, it just kind of sucks. But I have access to green, I can build Urban Sentry, offering him the option. Would you like us to trade engineers or not? Of course, he could choose to kill my engineer and build a wall, but that's, like, not good value for him either, right? That's sort of giving up 1 health by building a wall instead of a grid, so it comes out the same, more or less. And I think this is better. We've talked about before how buying a grid, even though it loses an engineer, is usually better than buying a wall. And he just got started right on those Omegas. So here, it's kind of... I had a little bit of trouble figuring out how to orchestrate adding on 2 attack and a Thermite core every turn. I eventually figured, like, well, gosh, what if I were producing 3 tech every turn, right? I could spend 2 of it on attackers and 1 of it on a Thermite core. Amazing. And so that, actually, the green helped me a lot with that as well. I forgot how many Gauss cannons I built this game. Gauss cannons were quite good. Because they did just as much damage as splitters, right? And I could float the green, meaning that, like, this conduit was, in many ways, better than a Blast Forge. It was doing similar things to what I would have done with blue. So, a cheaper Blast Forge, how nice. Sort of. This turn was a bit interesting, right? Like, is he going to click the Omega? I think the answer is yes. And I do need to get a grid down, though. Like, I guess that was actually part of the problem with this turn, was I wanted to do all that, like, continue adding on attack and also build a grid. And I did manage to squeeze that in, as well as another drone. But by saying so openly that I'm never going to let you absorb, I sort of free him of the obligation to hold his Omega back, right? And so he can get some attack value out of it instead. Normally you hold the first one back so your opponent doesn't damage you too much. But the good news is that, like, all this extra damage building up means he can't do that for long. I had to build 1 wall there. That was a bummer. Polywall was questionable. Yeah. What could I have done instead? Because I don't like that we let him hold back the Omega here. What other options are open to me? Assuming that I want to add on 2 more attacks still and a Thermite core, there aren't really any other options. I guess I could wall Force Field? Doesn't feel so great. Alright, what if I do that? I'm just barely defending this sentry. And I can buy a couple engineers. Now, like, holding this back actually costs him something, right? If he doesn't click it, he's killing just a wall. If he does click it, he's killing wall NG force field. And it's sort of hard, I think, for him to actually click it, isn't it? Like, what did he do in the game when I gave him the option? Before he realized he didn't have to attack with it, what was he doing? He was building polywall wall, holding a drone. Afterwards, he was able to just add 3 attack. So he bought himself quite a lot of tempo this way. Yeah, so if I had said this, like, first of all, can he actually click the Omega? I mean, the answer is yes, because he did do it in that line, but it was something like this, right? Polywall wall, hold drone, sentry, NGs, something like this is what he has to do. And fine, he gets to kill my stuff. But I can kill this polywall and build some more pixies. I guess it's not that troublesome for him. Although, I guess it means I can do this, actually get an Omega down. Yeah, I don't know. Again, he wants to click it because it kills an urban sentry, but what is he doing to defend then? Polywall, wall, urban sentry, NGs? He could arguably try not building the wall here. But no, it's saving an urban sentry, right? Yeah. But now, like, I'm actually absorbing, right? And I have all the tempo in the world to build more attackers. Probably, well, all the tempo in the world is an exaggeration. Probably have to build some engineers here. Yeah, but it's not looking that great for him. Okay, well, whatever. This was an interesting decision, and I should have thought more about the fact that I was like, yeah, holding this Omega back doesn't really do him anything because he's not absorbing, but that's not the only thing you get from holding back Omega. It lets you, like, gain 6 tempo. Right, 6 health that you can pretend you have for a turn, to let you put out more attackers. So, should have thought more about that. Maybe it was the right play anyway, but worth thinking about. And here, this Steel Splitter sort of commits me to actually attacking. Well, it doesn't actually commit me, because he could choose to click the Omega and kill my sentry. And then I could continue building up pixies. Was it, like, really worth? Hang on. Why did I blow all my pixies here? Shouldn't I just do this? I'm killing this stuff for my pixies, which doesn't matter at all. I felt like I was applying more pressure to him because I was killing all this off, but he has to pretend those are dead anyway. I have pixies that correspond to all of their health. Yeah, I think it was a huge mistake to click everything. I felt like, oh, gee, I have more than 8 attack, therefore I can't use my Thermite cores anymore. But he gave me this polywall, which means that I can use them, right? Huh. Like, I have 3 attack after killing this polywall. Oh, I guess I have 6, 4, 8, 9. Yeah, I have 9, 6, and 3. Right, okay. But I can still cycle it all, and like, just... This would have been way better. I wasn't killing anything important by clicking all these pixies, and I gave him 5 absorb for no reason. So that was a clear error. Wait, did I actually... Oh, I didn't... I'm confused. Oh, I hit reset. Okay. So I did indeed attack for no reason, and this was a blunder. I gave my opponent 5 health that I didn't have to. Shocking that I could still win after doing that. I mean, it killed a drone, but like this drone was going to be defending next turn too, right? So I don't know. It puts him in like bad shape, but he was already in bad shape. It was building the plasma fire that put him there, not clicking the pixies. So I think that was a big mistake that I should pay attention to. Is like, and I noticed it later in the game when he started building polywalls that I was able to like kill them and still use my thermites. But this turn where I actually spent all my pixies was a very clear example that I should do that. That I should save my pixies and just thermite up. I don't know what exactly was going through my head that made me do that. Alright, well, that was sort of a longish game. I think we're just going to call it here for the episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.